Ready to Love, episode 10. And Lord have mercy, I'm gonna have to start calling Sabrina the Black Widow. I knew Sabrina was gonna be something else from the very beginning of this season. When she broke out that list on her phone, and I did a whole video on it. I'll leave the link at the end of this video so you guys can watch it if you never saw it before. But let me tell you, I'm gonna start calling Sabrina the Black Widow, because you know what? She reels them in and chews them up and devours them. Is it just me, or when she put up Paul and Tori for elimination, did you feel like she was giving them a performance review? Like I told you, Sabrina all corporate. I tell you, it sounded like she was giving them a performance review. She is surgical in the way that she delivers her messages. I mean, she cuts and dices and slices. And sometimes these people don't even know they've been cut till they look up and the blood is coming out of them. Sabrina is cold. And it was even more cold that she was the one that eliminated Tori. That's just like a Black Widow, devouring your own mate. Because normally what they do is you don't normally eliminate the person you have the connection with. That's why when they be showing up at elimination, they be like, why am I going out on a date with this person? Because we don't really have no connection. The next thing you know, they getting fired. But nah, Sabrina was like, I can take care of this myself. I can slit the throat of Tori all by myself. That's what she did. Tori ought to be glad that he's dead and gone, because Sabrina, she lining them up. And Tori was just her first victim of this episode. You know, when Tori got eliminated, you saw Demetrius in the background laughing. I don't know if he was laughing over the fact that Tori was gone and he was happy, or if he was laughing over how Sabrina actually executed the man. I don't know which one he was laughing at, but he wasn't laughing later on in that episode when she turned that bite back on him. But like I told you last week, I hate to keep saying like I told you, but anyway, like I told you, Demetrius basically gave her the speech I gave y'all last week, that Demetrius wasn't going to be making no moves on Sabrina because she was too busy over here trying to run too many different men. And he was like, he ain't running behind no woman like that. But now that Tori's out the way and the only person really left was Donovan, Demetrius said he was ready to start stepping it up. And Sabrina's like, well, you better step it up. Sabrina says, I think you used to women chasing you, and I'm used to men chasing me. So we're going to have to compromise and come to the middle on this. But he laid it out. He said, I wasn't giving you my 100%. I'm going to be honest, because I wasn't giving you my 100% because you was running around here with these other connections. That ain't Demetrius' game plan. That's some men's game plan. But Demetrius' game plan, he ain't going to chase after you when you involved with a bunch of other women. I can see that from the very beginning. He ain't playing them games. But Sabrina's a trip. You know, on that wish list, she had all these things she wanted in a man. He was fun, outgoing, witty. I'll put the wish list up here right now. You can see it right here. This was her list of what she wanted in a man. And now that you know a little bit more about Sabrina, do you think she's these things? And that's what I told you last time. She asked for a whole lot of things for men that she's not. I don't see no fun part of Sabrina. Not at all. I see Sabrina lining them up, slitting their throats, executing them, and spitting them out, giving them some feedback, some constructive criticism, like she's your boss and you doing your 6-month review. When they were in that hot tub with Joy and Cliff, and Joy said, go on and nibble on his ear. And Sabrina says, I work at my own pace. Which is so interesting because she wants Demetrius to step it up. And when someone starts telling her to step it up, she says, oh, don't tell me what to do. I work at my own pace. But she's steady telling Demetrius to step it up. I'm telling you, this girl, she's something else. After the getaway or the performance reviews that Sabrina gave to Demetrius and Donovan, she did that last week, told them all the things they need to do better on, all the areas they weren't hitting the mark, the areas they were doing well on, but, you know, needs to improve. You remember how I used to get them little marks on your grades in school and at work? This is the area where you need to improve in. And giving you some goals before the next performance review. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't be sitting there acting like you confused at what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's Sabrina. And she wondered why now all her connections are tense with Donovan and Demetrius. Because ain't nobody your employee. Nobody's your subservient. Ain't nobody your student. None of that. Sabrina treats her relationships like she's at work. And not only is she at work, she's the boss. When they finally get met up and start talking to Tommy, and Tommy was like, Sabrina, how's it going? How are your connections? There she goes. She whipped out her little performance review and her computer, and she started rattling off about Donovan. Well, Mr. Donovan, you're lighthearted and you're easy to talk with. Those are very good things. I'm going to give you a 5 in that category. But after I've heard more about it and observed your performance and your relationship history, I'm finding that you're deficient in that area. And I'm not for sure if you are ready for love. I don't know if you've had enough time to heal. And therefore, I don't know if you're ready for a man right now. It was funny as heck. Now listen, like I told you last week, it's not that some of the things that Sabrina says is not true. The fact that Donovan is only 2 months out of a relationship, it would scare most people. Most people would say to themselves and ask themselves, is this too soon? But the way that Sabrina does shit, it is cold, it is heartless, there's no warmth to it, there's no tenderness to it. That's the problem with her. And then the other problem is she's somewhat hypocritical. She asks things of others that she herself can't deliver. This is what just creates this whole hypocrisy with Sabrina and creates this like, who the heck are you? What are you doing? But she thinks she has all her shit so together. That's also what's so funny. She thinks her shit don't stink. And let me tell you, it is stinking up the room. Her shit is funky. So then Tommy says, well, what about your connection with Demetrius? She goes, oh, I have his performance review right here. Let's get to it. Well, Demetrius I think he wants a woman that's more passive. He used the word submissive. I do not describe myself as submissive, although I can be that sometimes. That is not who I am by my default. Therefore, I believe these issues will become an issue over time, and that scares me. Oh, so Demetrius chimes in, and Demetrius says, hey, listen, my friend did say that, but I don't necessarily subscribe to the word submissive. He said that's not necessarily how he thinks. And he would also likes the idea of a partnership. But Demetrius went back and said, you know what? I admit it. I'm not giving her 100% of my time because that's not what I do. Why would he give Sabrina 100% of his time? And what he's saying is she over here dividing her 100% between 3 people. So she wants 100% from Demetrius, but yet she was given 33% to Donovan, 33% to Tori, and 33% to Demetrius. So Sabrina, nothing's wrong with you trying to divide your time between 3 men. Do what you want to do, girl. But you can't come around and ask for 100% from Demetrius. See, Demetrius wasn't trying to connect with really no other woman. So all his time was really able to go towards Sabrina. But he was like, I'm not giving you my 100%, girl. And then she tells Demetrius, well, that's not sufficient to me because you're asking me to make a decision based on something in the future, but not something in the present. She's so calculating. She calculates every time in her head, what's she getting out of the deal? What am I getting? What am I getting? What am I getting? I don't want to give more than I'm getting. I don't want to give more than I'm getting. So she always wants you to give more first before she does anything. And anytime she thinks she's ahead of you, she comes back and says, hey, you need to give more because I don't want to get ahead of you. I know who Sabrina is. Sabrina's selfish. Come on, y'all. Like I said, when I saw that list of all the stuff she won on that list, I'm telling you, I knew right then this girl is acting like she just going out here and shopping for a man and she can write down everything she wants. And I said, what the heck are you bringing to the table, Sabrina? What are you offering up? Every time we see her on camera, all she's talking about are performance reviews and what the deficiency is in the other person. That's like sitting down in front of your boss and your boss telling you all the things you need to work on and you want to turn around and say, well, what are you going to do to help me meet my goal? What you going to do? What you going to do as my supervisor, my superior to help me meet these goals? Or do you want me to just do all this on my own? And then later on, then you had this little tense conversation with Donovan. Donovan was like, I didn't like Sabrina pushing up on Demetrius and feeding him food and everything when I'm sitting right there. And there you go. There goes Sabrina. See, Sabrina is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Sabrina's motto is what's good for the goose, make sure you don't do it though. And when Donovan said, Sabrina said, well, you can go home just like the last one. And she was like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. First of all, I was believing Donovan straight from the beginning because that is the personality that Sabrina has. That's what's in her head. She might can sometimes control it coming out of her mouth, but I know how she thinks, and that is how she thinks. You can go home, just like that Black Widow. Listen, you might be the next one to get your throat slit. And then she says, that's not what I said. They said, well, what did she say? They said, well, when Donovan said, I wonder who's going to go home next, she goes, well, it could be you. What is the difference, Sabrina? Girl, she's a mess. You see how she talked to people? Donovan is done with her. And let me tell you, Demetrius is not going to be too far behind. She thinks she's the one Xing out them, but Demetrius is catching on. He just know he don't have no other connections. But he already know, just like she said, that's going to cause a problem. They're going to be butting heads. It is absolutely going to be causing a problem and butting heads. And Demetrius can see it himself. I'm going to do another video for the rest of the couples that were on this episode, but I don't want this video to be too long. So be sure to click on this link right here and watch the rest of my part 2 of my Ready to Love when I go into Dakia. Oh, good Lord. And everybody else. Talk to you later. Bye.